Hello, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, my beautiful people. It is nice to be here this morning. How has your week been? Mine has been fantastic, and I feel very, very elated. Let me just quickly gist you something. I feel really very elated this morning. Um, and for anyone that cares to know, I feel like I am a mother whose children are getting married this morning. I have two lovely people that are getting married. I feel like the mother of the bride, and I also feel like the mother of the groom. These people have been my people, and today they are getting married. And I want to say a quick shout out to Akin and Tena. Today is their wedding day. Um, I could hardly sleep actually. I could hardly sleep. I was just waiting for the day to dawn so that I could. I have gele prepared. Mother of the bride concern, mother of the groom concern, and sincerely, it's really exciting for me. It's like watching your children do well before your very eyes, and for me, it's something that I really thank God for. Aki Antenna, God bless you, congratulations, and your path will continue to shine brighter and brighter in Jesus' name. So last week, we were rudely interrupted by interconnectivity. Network proved itself untrustworthy, unreliable last week. Last week, we were talking about overfamiliarity, and somehow, in the midst of our discussion, somehow internet decided not to work again. I tried and tried and tried, and behold, this is Nigeria, and sometimes things like that happen. And so um, we couldn't continue. But last week, I remember that we were talking about. Oh, thank you. Good morning, Anastasia. Good morning. Thank you. You said I look good. Oh man. I'm the mother of the bride and mother of the groom this morning. So I really have to put in an effort. I'm not even done yet. My makeup artist has not come. So by the time the person is here, yeah, we take it to the next level. They will give me another face at that time. So last week we were talking about overfamiliarity. And I said that it is a natural thing for us to want more of each other when we first meet our partners. It's very natural for us to want to know more about them, for us not to have enough of them, so we want to keep them. And like I said last week, all the songs on our shelves, all the songs by our musicians, they are geared towards, making, reminding us that, what, come home, the guy will sing to you, good morning, Ogechi, and all about, good morning, blessing. Thank you. Yeah, somebody say amen and congratulations to Aki Antena. Yeah. So I know that we were talking about how we can't have enough of each other. And I said it's a very natural thing to want to continue to know more about your partner, to want to continue to have more. In fact, most guys, they sing about it, they fantasize about it, about when you will come home and never leave again. So this is about you just coming home. In fact, in Yoruba, we used to say, Arewa Kowaleo, So when are you coming home? When are you packing your things and coming here? And that you will never go back again. And those are very nice times. Truly, if you want to re-experience those times, especially for us that we have grown a bit, it's something to reminisce about. It's something to just relive those moments. They are very interesting times where, good morning, Femi Adekunle, my ever supportive husband. Is also watching. His eye is part of the people that are watching me online. Thank you for being here. And I said that last week that we never want to get enough of each other. We just want to continue to find out more, to continue to find out more about each other, to continue to love and be there for each other, and to continue to want to unravel that person before you. And it is natural and it is healthy. But the flip side is that when you become over familiar with your spouse or your partner, you discover that people that become over familiar, they cross a particular threshold and they begin to subtly take the other person for granted. They believe that they have a free pass to this person, and they believe that they can met out any kind of behavior to this person because this person will always understand. My partner should always understand me. My partner should always be there for me. You should know, and so we begin to take each other for granted. And when it gets to this point where we don't take conscious and deliberate efforts to make sure that we are not disrespectful to our spouses, make sure that we continue to honor their desires, make sure that their needs matter to us. If we are not careful, we become over familiar. Duchess Toyo, thank you very much for being here in this morning time. This is my friend from forever. Thank you for putting your eye as part of the people that are looking at me this morning. Thank you, Doctor, for being here. I appreciate your being here this morning. So, like I said, we need to be in that place where we are able to understand that our spouses, our partners are different from us, and the things that make them tick, the things that they love, the things that they want, they will be slightly different from the things that we want, and we should be mindful not to cross that line, not to become enmeshed with each other. And a lot of people, why I'm talking about this is because a lot of people think that it is a sign of closeness for you to bridge every gap, for there not to be any difference between you again. Some people, in fact, that is what they walk towards. They want to walk towards that place where we eat the same food, we finish each other's sentences, and to them, that is what love is. And this misconception always comes from the media, where they project to us that when two people can finish each other's sentences, when they become that enmeshed, that is love, and that is what to look out for. That is what real love is about. But truth is, that is really not what love is about. Love is about two people having an identity in the same relationship without feeling anxious of losing your partner. You need to get to that place where you are not anxious. When your partner decides that, please, can we talk about this after I've finished eating? You don't feel threatened that because the person does not want to talk at the time that you want to talk, it means that there's a problem. And you begin to feel like, especially for us ladies, you begin to feel like, oh, maybe he doesn't love me again. Maybe then what is going on in his head? Because most of the time when we read that year, if you remember that year, when we used to read Mills and Bones and all those things, what they made us believe is that a woman is, she's precious. A man should be able to walk on the very ground that should worship the very ground that you tread on. And so somehow we have an over-exaggerated sense of self. And most of us, we believe that for anybody to, and sincerely, if you look at it in movies, a guy says something to you and you slap his face, and the guy, because he respects you, does not do his own back. Except, of course, in recent times, we have started having some comedians that I know I've seen a number of comic skits where people say, if you slap me, I will try it. If I will not slap my own back, that's when you will know that a lady does not slap somebody and gets away with it, something like that. So I think that one thing that we should be weary of is to get into that space where we we get over familiar with our spouse. And this is one thing that happens with couples that have been in marriage for a while. Truth is that we begin to take each other less seriously. We begin to believe that we can get away with certain things. But the truth of the matter is that love is a living thing. Love is a living thing. You have to continue to feed it. You have to continue to groom it. You have to continue to work on it for you to get the desired results. The results that you desire, you can get if you are willing to put in the work. The results of it, the I mean, a good relationship is a reward. It's not something that would just happen because you intend well, because you, especially for religious people, because you believe in God and God wants you to have everything that pertains to life and godliness. That is not the reason why you will have a good relationship. You will have a good relationship simply because you are putting in the work. And part of the work to do is to ensure that you don't become over familiar with your spouse. It is time for us to begin to watch it. What are those things that make us get over familiar with them? When we don't take their needs seriously, when we think that they've become an extension of ourselves. So what I feel, definitely you should feel that way too. And when they tell you what they don't want, try to respect it. When they tell you the things that make them different from us, why don't we try to respect those things instead of seeing them as a problem? That, oh, the moment you don't want what I want, it means that there's a problem. That is not a pointer to the fact that there's a problem. The fact that we are different, or that we want different things, or that we choose differently, doesn't mean that there's a problem with our relationship. And I think that is something that we need to be very, very aware of in our relationship. Then the second thing that usually happens in a long-term relationship that makes us get to that point of overfamiliarity is when we don't prioritize our spouses anymore. And these things are subtle things that happen, especially in relationships that have stayed a while, in relationships that have been there for, you've been married for 2 years, and probably you've courted for another 3 years, you've been together for a while, and you begin to, take each other for granted. One thing that usually happens also is that we don't prioritize ourselves. We don't prioritize ourselves. I know that there are so many ladies, for instance, where when guests come to our homes, we have special plates that we serve them with. The way we prepare the house, the ambience, and everything, it shows that yes, we are expecting someone. But when it's our spouse, is the one now. What and like that, we stop prioritizing them, we stop prioritizing their needs, we stop prioritizing their desires, and we expect that they should be okay with it. And that is one of the major things that make relationships die. That is one of the things that make us very over familiar with our spouses or partners, because we get over familiar with them. And we need to be careful of getting into these spaces, because those are spaces that we get to, and divorce begins to creep in. Because divorce is not an event that happens on the day that you get the divorce. It's something that has been happening over time. Some people are married and they've been divorced for the past 3-4 years, because really there's nothing that is holding them together. It is just the physical presence. They're just like tenants of the same house. And we need to be aware of these things. We should learn to prioritize our spouses. Our spouses deserve to be treated with a little bit of love and I think empathy. We need to empathize, put ourselves in their shoes, and feel what they feel per time. I know a lot of husbands are very, 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 very guilty of of not prioritizing their spouses. Everything can come into the schedule except you, except the wife. I have a meeting and I will cancel our date. Somebody wants to see me. I have a speaking engagement. You are the one that will be cancelled. Everything is about cancelling your spouse, your wife, especially. I'm talking to men now that cancel their wives out of their schedule usually. And so I think that we just try to see that, because one of the things that sustains relationship is one of the laws of a good relationship is the law of priority. And I think that maybe the next time we talk, we'll delve more about the law of priority, because Marriage cannot work except we put each other in first place. Marriage cannot work except we put each other in first place. I want to quickly read some comments here. So somebody said, prioritizing our spouse, that's Lola. Love is a living thing. Okay. Femadipole says that, how do you distinguish between not wanting to be over familiar and walking on eggshells around each other? And I think that's a very wonderful question. How do we get into that place when where we differentiate between being over careful, not to offend each other, and also not being familiar? I think that these questions can be answered by individuals by themselves. I think everybody should be truthful. And I'm always talking about being truthful. Be truthful to what you think and what you feel, and be vulnerable enough to communicate it. When your spouse is overstepping their bounds with you, would you want to let them know that this particular thing that you are doing, I don't like it? This particular thing is pissing me off. If that person does not receive your truthful communication in a good way, that person is becoming over familiar with you, but you have been able to communicate what you want from this person because you know what ticks you off. And we all need to be able to communicate nicely, because sometimes too it is also in the communication, because we get into that space where we are already triggered before we communicate. I think we should learn to communicate our true feelings, what we think about how people are treating us. I think we should learn to communicate it when we are not angry, when we are not triggered. That way you are able to educate, because the purpose of communicating this thing is to educate the other person about your likes and dislikes. And so if you are able to say, this particular thing that you do, I don't like it. When you want to discuss something very serious, would you please not wake me up at night? I usually, except maybe it's on a Friday, where I know that I can sleep till late, till in the next day. But please, when you wake me up at night, it makes me, I am a bit uncomfortable with it, because some women or some people, let me know, I don't think it's a gender thing. Some people believe that if you want to talk to somebody about something serious, you need to wake them up in the night, and somebody else might not like to be woken up in the middle of the night to discuss very serious issues. Some people, it might be the way you treat them among friends. Please, when people are around with you, I know that when I'm in my counseling, I help couples design some, activities around how to treat each other. And so in such forms, I know that I've read something like, please, when we have a quarrel, would you stop throwing things at me? I don't like it when you throw things at me. I don't like it when you break things in the house. I would appreciate it if you don't call me names. We can address what is on ground without you calling me names. By the time it results to calling me names, I also get triggered and I lose it. And so that way, we can communicate those things when we are not triggered, and that is the way that the communication can be well understood. So, but that is communicating what you want and prioritizing each other's needs. Because that way the person matters. You are inquisitive enough to want to find out, how can I work with this person? How can we work together as a team? And how can we please each other? That's still a thing to you. But when it comes to somebody telling you that this is what I want, and you say, no, you too, you don't want somebody to wake you up in the night. You too, see this person that is talking about, that one, you're becoming over familiar. And the other extreme is also, I don't want to offend somebody. And that way, you don't speak your truth. I think when you get to the point where you can't speak your truth, when it is difficult for you to speak your truth, I think you're already walking on eggshells at that time. And I think that we should just all know the difference. And I think with that question, sincerely, I think that question helped us to address a lot of things. Ruth Dumadi, thank you for being here. You said prioritizing your spouse intentionally. Yes, we all need to be able to, prioritize our spouses intentionally. address issues, not their persons. Yes, when we have to communicate, let's communicate clearly, addressing the issues on ground without labeling the other person and calling their names and all of that. And I think that there is never going to be a time that we will not have to go inward to talk about, to be able to, know the things that we want and be able to communicate it. And the first assignment is about understanding yourself and knowing what you want before you're able to communicate it. And on that note, I think we have done well on the issue of over familiarity. And I think that next week we'll go into something that is more interesting as well. And my name once again is Nikki Adekunle. I am an emotional and couple therapist, and I work with people. If you're interested in working on your marriage and you want to develop the skills to work well with your marriage, then this is who to speak to. I run an organization called the Marriage Haven, and and in that organization, what we basically do is work on people's emotions and people's marriage. And until I come your way next week, my name is Nikki Adekunle. Please like, share, and help us spread the word so that we can grow beyond this. And until I come your way again, my name is Nikki Adekunle. Bye for now.